Hello, today I am going to go over how to make a fall grapevine wreath. So the first thing you're going to need is a 18-inch grapevine wreath frame form. You can get it at Hobby Lobby, at Michael's, and usually has a price on here, but they range anywhere from like $4.99 to $5.99. Now you can make this wreath on any size form. Just want to show you the supplies I'm using today, and mine is an 18-inch wreath frame. The next thing you're going to want to do is grab some flowers. I'm using these flowers to kind of incorporate into my fall wreath, but you can get fall flowers if you'd like. You can be creative in terms of what you want to add to it. For my base, excuse me, my daughter's in the background. For my base, for the greenery, I purchased this lamb's ear garland. And you get a lot with it, so it's really economical to use. At Hobby Lobby, every other week it's 50% off. I bought it for $10. Generally it's $19.99. So I'm gonna go over how I use that. Few other things you're going to want to use. I bought these pumpkins from Hobby Lobby as well. And what I did is I actually used zip tie mounts. So one thing I do want to share that I do to help secure everything on is 24 hours before I begin my project, I basically put zip tie mounts to my accessories that I'm going to use, and I glue them on with E6000 glue. And I let it set for 24 hours because that allows for the zip tie mount to really hold on to the pumpkin and it won't come off. So that is what I use. So I'm going to be using 3 of each. So I have 3 pine cones, 3 orange pumpkins, and 3 white pumpkins. You know your colors, that's right. Okay, so what other materials you'll need as well are some wire cutters and some really good scissors. You're also going to want zip ties. I have a few different types here. I'm going to try and use the green ones, but if you need bigger ones as well, you can use bigger ones. I usually use about 4-inch to 8-inch zip ties. And I like these green ones from Hobby Lobby because they kind of hide everything. They kind of show, you know, they're hidden within your wreath. So I really like these. So if you can, I'd get these from Hobby Lobby. And then of course you're going to want to use your ribbon of choice. So for my wreath, I am actually going to be using this buffalo plaid ribbon. So I think it'll be really cute tying everything in together. As you can kind of see it all combined, I think it'll look really, really good. So I will be going over what. All right, so remember the first thing you want to do is 24 hours before you start your project, you want to get the cable zip tie mounts and use that E6000 glue to paste it onto the back of whatever pieces you'll be using. And you can get creative, you can do whatever you want. There's a lot of options right now at Hobby Lobby. The next thing I'm going to do is I am going to prepare my wreath frame. So I'm just going to kind of cut down all the excessive pieces that I don't want sticking out. Just want to kind of clean it up a little bit. I'd also be careful. I've heard that you can find some strange things in these wreath frames. Fortunately, I have never experienced that, and I'm hoping that continues. But just want to throw that warning out there, as I've heard some horror stories.
What am I doing?
Yeah, it looks cool.
It's spinning around.
So I'm just going to go ahead and clean it up a little bit. Not too much, just anything that's really sticking out, and cut those pieces off. So I think I'm pretty much almost done. I'm just going to get the inside now.
Mom, what is wrong?
And my daughter, if you don't know, she's in pretty much all my videos in the background, you'll hear her talking and playing and stuff, so just don't mind her. All right, so I have it cleaned up. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just clean up my mess, and then I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so what you're going to want to do next is get your greenery. So I'm going to clip off anything I don't need, and I'm going to see how I want my frame to be. So looking at the shape, I think I want it to place my bow here and have everything go across. Let me see. Actually looks better this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my bow on this side, and I'm going to start putting greenery going this way, as well as come back down and do it the same way. I'm not going to go all the way around, so I'm going to leave a gap here, but I just wanted to let you know like what my plan is as I start cutting the greenery. So I'm going to start here at the end of my greenery, and you're going to see this like hook piece. I'm going to cut that off. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go branch by branch, cutting some of these pieces off. You can see here, the next piece I'm going to go to the next beginning part, and then just kind of go all the way around. Trying to keep as much stem as possible, because that's what I'm going to zip tie to the grapevine. So I'm just gonna kind of go all around right now and do that with my vine. Okay, I have all of my greenery cut. Again, I'm using lamb's ear. So the next thing I'm gonna do, as I said, I'm gonna have a bow on this side. So, you know, I don't have my ruler with me, but I'd say account for like about 4 inches to put your bow. And all I'm going to do is grab my zip tie and go through a few branches and zip tie it in, and use my wire cutters to trim it. Now, depending on how crazy it is, I might want to use another zip tie to tie it in elsewhere, but as I'm kind of going through and building my base, you'll see that you might not need to do that. So, and don't worry about your zip tie showing, because you're also going to layer this with flowers and pumpkins and stuff. So when you're done with everything, you won't see it all. And I also use my bow to kind of help cover this section right here. So I'm going to continue along. And just so you can see, I'm going to kind of fill it in to about right here. So kind of going right across from the bow. So I'm going to go ahead and zip tie everything in, and we'll continue from there. All right, if you can see, thank you. If you can see, I already have the greenery on this half of my wreath. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start on the other side, again about 4 inches, and then I'm just going to start zip tying from this side. The good thing is if you leave too much of a gap, you can always add a pumpkin or a bow to help cover some of your zip ties. So I'm just going to do a few so you can see exactly what I do. Again, I just go under a few branches and I get my zip tie, just go through and cut. And one thing I do want to share is I don't necessarily have a rhyme or reason in terms of specific like patterns and stuff that I do as I choose how far to space everything. I just kind of see like, okay, does that look good? Does that cover anything? And as I'm going around, you'll know if you need to do more spacing. And if you do have too much spacing in between, it's okay because you'll be able to put a pumpkin to kind of help cover it. So I'm just going to continue going along as I create my design and go through attaching everything to the grapevine. One thing I do want to say is you're probably going to use all of your greenery as you're doing this, and that's okay. You want to make use of everything you have. So just going to kind of continue along. And you don't have to do lamb's ear. I mean, you can use this method for any type of grapevine wreath. You don't have to choose lamb's ear. I just chose it for the sake of design and the wreath I'm making, since it is fall. But you can do the same thing with any type of greenery. I do like to use garland though when I'm choosing my floral for a grapevine, because you usually get a lot for the money. So even like Christmas garland, I'll buy and like tear it all apart because you just can make it yours and make a unique design, and just buy a garland, in which usually is on sale depending on the time of year. You can just use that garland and cut everything up and use it as you'd like. So I like to do that. It's definitely, I've come out with some pretty interesting wreaths doing it that way. So I highly recommend that you do. Definitely be creative and don't have to go with the same old trendy stuff. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and continue along until I fill up to about, let's see, right here. So I'll be back. Okay, as you can see, I finished adding my greenery on both sides, so you can kind of see what it looks like. The next thing I want to do is start figuring out how I want to place my fall accessories. So probably going to start off with a pumpkin here, and there's no like right or wrong way. So I like to do kind of odd and even. So I'm going to put 2 orange pumpkins on this side, incorporate 1 white. See if I can do a pine cone. I'll show you how I'm going to input them in a second. And then 1 white flower. And I'll probably, see if everyone can see that, add another one on this side. So now it looks nice and full. I'm going to attach it in just a minute. I'm just trying to place everything to see if I like it and like how it's coming out. So I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Don't know, probably going to put a few flowers together because I'm not crazy about how that's all looking. So I'm going to bunch a few flowers together to give it that nice finished look. All right, so for my other side, I'm going to try and do the same type of placement. So just try and visualize for now as I work to get everything in there. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to start off with a pumpkin, then maybe do a rose. Put that over there. More will start over here because we want to break up the colors a little bit. We're going to use 1 orange pumpkin on this side, a pine cone over here, another cream pumpkin right here, and maybe some flowers. So you'll see that it starts to take up everything. So that's how I'm going to place everything. What I'm going to do, again, I put these here so that I can get my zip tie, put it through it. And now all I'm going to do is attach it through. So you'll kind of see it all come to life as you're working with it. And since you've let the glue kind of stick on here, you'll get to tighten it And then just clip your zip tie underneath, and now it's on there nice and securely. So I think what I'm going to want to do is add my flower here, but I want a little break of color there. So got a runaway pumpkin here. So what I'm going to do is add my cute pine cone here. Again, I'm just going to use my zip tie mounts that I've already had preset, and I'm just going to add them to my wreath frame. Sometimes you do have to like put in some work to get these zip ties through. I'm not going to tie it too tight, 'cause I think it's perfect right there. But I don't know if you can see. I'll try and figure out how you can see it. Do you see how it's beginning to take shape? So the next thing I want to do is add my flower. So I'm probably going to add it there. Now this is a little different because, there you go, because you got to get to the base of this. So I'm going to find a spot. I'll probably create my zip tie hoop already. And then what I'm going to do, now that I kind of have it set, is I'm going to stick the stem kind of into the grapevine and tighten it. I hope you guys saw that. I'll do it again on the other side as well. So, all right. So as you can see, it's now beginning to take, it's coming to life. So there's a little gap here. I kind of left it that way on purpose. I'm going to add another pumpkin here. This time I'm going to add an orange color. Put it through my zip tie and add it on. Nice and secure. It's going to be covering, somewhat big, so it's going to be covering all the other zip ties that I have from my greenery. So that. All right, you can mess with it. Okay, so kind of getting closer. I think adding these two florals right here will give it a nice view. It's maybe a little too loose and I like it, so let me tighten that up a little bit. So, all right, I'm gonna get these flowers, and I'm going to probably place them right here. Again, you can kind of put your hoop together first. And what you're gonna wanna do is add them in. So, you can see it there, and you can even cut a piece of that stem off. This is a little long. Hope everyone can see that. And we just need one more pumpkin, and we're pretty much done on this side. So I'm gonna go ahead and again put my zip tie through my pumpkin, and I'm going to attach. So you can also use clear zip ties. I just kind of like the green ones a little better because of the colors. I don't like how this is looking right here, so I do have an extra pine cone, and I'm probably going to put it in there. So I'm going to basically finish this side off, and then I'm going to go back and do the same to the other side. So go ahead and work on your side and do the other, and then we'll be back. Okay, so I am done attaching everything to the base of my wreath, to the grapevine wreath. One thing I do want to call out, I did buy a bouquet, and I basically use almost everything. I even use the little flowers to kind of help fill in. So feel free to use those to kind of help give more life and bring some more energy to your wreath. I'm going to go ahead and put it to the side now. The next thing I'm going to do is I am actually going to make a bow for my wreath. So one thing, I will share my bow making in a link below, as I do have a certain method to make my bows, but I do like to use a Bodabra, and in the video that I will attach, you can make a bow without this. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. In case you don't have a Bodabra, that is okay. Like I said, I'll attach the link in the comments so that you can make one without it. So I have my ruler here, and what I'm going to do is I am going to cut 3 22-inch pieces. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do is cut an 18-inch piece. Make sure that when you are cutting your ribbon that you use really good scissors. I have these fabric scissors I use. And then I'm going to cut one final piece, about, let's say 7 inches. So I have my 7-inch piece, my 18-inch, and then my 3 22-inch pieces. So what I'm going to do, your Bodabra comes with floral ribbon. If you don't have one, that's okay, because you can use other things in the area. So I'm going to lay it flat in between my Bodabra, and I'm going to use my Bodabra to make this bow. So I'm just going to get my 3 22-inch pieces, and I'm going to make them into a loop, kind of fold them over each other, just maybe about 2 inches, and I'm going to come in the middle, fold it in half, and cinch it. So you'll see a bow beginning to form. And I'm going to do the same thing with my other 2 pieces. And one thing I do want to share is make sure that you use wired ribbon. I use wired ribbon for everything, so it just helps to create and form. So you can kind of see that the bow is coming to life. Let me get my last 22-inch piece, and there you go. Then I'm going to get my 18-inch piece, cinch it, and then my final piece, what I'm going to do is just fold it in half and kind of pinch it an inch towards the bottom, put it in, push everything down, and I'm going to bring the ribbon and basically create a knot. Do it nice and hard. Come and get the other side as well. Make a few other knots so it stays in place. And then cut this piece off. So then you're gonna see that you have an excess piece here. All I do is cut that piece off, and then I'm just going to form my bow and make my little poofs on the bow so it's nice and fluffy. So you can tell I've been making bows for some time because I do it pretty easily. I know when I first started doing that, I was not that good. So I'm going to basically come and attach my bow to this spot. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to get a zip tie. I'm going to get a little longer one, and I'm going to kind of slide it underneath. This part can be a little tough sometimes, so I'm going to find a spot in between. I'm trying to show you underneath my knot, in between the pieces, and just kind of push it through. I feel like it's starting to push through until I can get through it to the other side. So I think I did a really good job of tying this knot, that it's not budging. There we go. So where did it go? Okay, perfect. So got it to the other side. It's okay if your bow needs a little fluff love, that's okay. What I'm going to do is then bring my zip tie and mount it or attach it to my base. And you can move it and attach it nicely. You're just going to close the zip tie to attach it. So make it a little tighter. Okay. All right, so I'm going to cut that off. And then I am going to come back, fix my bow, make it nice and pretty. Make sure everything is nice and attached. If I need to use some greenery to fill in, I will do that now to kind of fill in some areas. If you have extra lamb's ear, now is a perfect time to use it, or just manipulate your bow so that it stays. So have it attached. Let's see how it looks hung up. All right, there it is, our fall wreath. And you can still add some more greenery if you'd like. You can add more pumpkins, you can go all the way around. You can do quite a bit, but it's done, it's cute, it's fall, it's festive. And the great thing about it is you can use whatever pieces you'd like to make this fall wreath, or whatever type of wreath you want on a grapevine. I hope you enjoyed my video. Thank you.